He took a handful of his long red curls, now matted with sweat and dirt, and cut them off at the scalp. He cut off all of his hair as close to the scalp as possible before he shaved his head with one of the disposable razors he found in the medicine cabinet. Then he cut off his beard and mustache before he shaved his face clean. He didn't spend much time admiring his clean-cut, younger-looking face in the mirror. He needed to erase any distinguishing characteristics that made him stand out in a crowd. He swept up the hair, put it in a plastic bag along with his prison garb, took it outside, and threw it over the hill. He found an old backpack and filled it with a blanket, some towels, the rest of the disposable razors, the whiskey, and the provisions his visitor had brought. He dropped the backpack and the jugs of water by the back door. He was exhausted. Despite the painkillers his visitor had delivered, he was still suffering from the pain of his wound. He was afraid to lie down and sleep for fear his recent visitor had alerted the police to his whereabouts. All he could think of was that he must get away. The few weeks he'd spent in the county lockup and then the state penitentiary had been the worst weeks of his life. He knew he wasn't tough enough to survive prison. The bullying that worked so well with women and those weaker than him had no effect on the cold-blooded killers in the state pen. He didn't think he could bear to do what he would have to in order to survive inside. The feds were willing to work with him on the length of his sentence in order to get what they wanted out of him, but Brian had decided that what he wanted was no sentence. There was no going back now. Brian heard a noise outside and was relieved to see it was only a buck nosing around the porch of the cabin. He knew he wasn't going to be able to sleep in the cabin and feel safe, but he needed to get some rest in order to get through the next few days. He weighed his options as far as alternative places to bunk down were concerned. When the solution came to him, he thought he might have just enough energy left to get there.